knows exactly what this job calls for, and it doesn't call for him to be anything besides who he is. He's a very violent man. He's a real killer, and he's going to have to be everything I believe he is come June 1st.
I mean, Wilder's kind of said it from his own mouth. He's got nothing to lose. This is, as it were, an almost last chance saloon that he's imposed on himself. Is this the most dangerous that we've ever seen Deontay Wilder?
I would say circumstantial-wise, absolutely, because the circumstances call for him to either shit or get off the pot. And the circumstances call for him to be very, very violent. The circumstances, they call for him to be who he really is and let nothing distract him. Zhang is there to be hit. Like, he's not like some big heavyweight that don't get hit. He's a big heavyweight that get hit. That right there is enough for Deontay Wilder to have a chance at clipping you. You're a big man, you're a bigger target. That means your defense is slower. I don't care how dangerous you is, the bigger you are, the slower you move. You're lazy sometimes, which means you give your opposition the opportunity to hit you. You're lazy sometimes. You're a bigger man. You can't get out of the way of the right hand too quick. So those are things that's on our side, but this is a bunch of things that may possibly go against us. Deontay has fought southpaws, but he never fought a southpaw like this, concerning size, concerning back foot counters, concerning all of these things. So it's a very dangerous fight, but I also believe the opportunity itself that it presents for Deontay to take him exactly where he's trying to go for his next fight.
And lastly, it was just a congratulations on your man Zoro becoming a cruiserweight champion.
Zoro.
And you know, it's not really highlighted enough. I think your actual training and the fighters you're bringing through to the stable. So I want to say congratulations.
Yeah, Zoro Ramirez, in my opinion, he's the best cruiserweight in the world.
Better than Jai?
Better than who?
Jai Patel?
I was hoping you didn't bring that up, but like I said, he's the best cruiserweight in the world. Right. If there's any fight that I'm looking forward to him having someday, is against that. And I think that should be in Saudi. But he's a big, tall guy that get under hooks better than any short guy. He has a long jab. He has heart, every attribute that a fighter should have. Zoro Ramirez has. He's a hard worker. He'll come here in front of you guys and be an extremely sweetheart. Like he's a good guy. He's just all around
animal in the ring.
Animal in the ring, though. Yes.
Thank you so much, Malik. It's been Rico from No Smart Sport. Take it. It's great.
Yes, it's good.
London. Deontay Wilder's demeanor seemed very what we're accustomed to. I think we've seen something similar with Anthony Joshua after he took a defeat in terms of going back to the basics. He said that he can feel the beast rising in him again. What would you attribute that to? Why is it different this time around for him?
I don't know, sometimes it could just come of age. I know people I have friends of mine that they used to be street runners, street gangsters. As time went on, I see them 20 years later, they got 3 kids. Their mindset is a lot more chill. They really don't have time for the activities we used to have time for. So I use that analogy to say that's not the exact thing, but as you get older and you experience different things, your love for different things may change. But unfortunately for Deontay, he has a killer instinct in him and a stubbornness in him that I don't believe that could be cut off. I don't believe that he could change that really. I believe that he is who he is. He's a very violent man, not just in the ring. If he's not in the ring, he's shooting guns. If he's not shooting guns, he's handling business very aggressively. If he's not doing that, he's being aggressive with other things. It's just who he is. I think, but I know tons of killers also that had a bad night in the office concerning boxing because it's controlled chaos, whatever way you look at it. You're going to have to use your mind if you really want to be surgical and knock somebody out cold, especially at this level. And he went in there with, to me, an opponent that doesn't get a lot of credit. Him or his trainer, Andy Lee and Joseph Parker, had an incredible methodical game plan. They did just enough to win the rounds. They did just enough to take a chance. They did just enough before you look up, we down 8 rounds, and now they're being very methodical, very protective, and being very surgical in their own ways. And at this time, Deontay is having the worst night of his career. So the ball really was in a quarter in that night because not from luck, from good game plan and Deontay just having a bad night in the office, not being able to pull the trigger. I've seen it happen to the best. But I believe being ashamed of that performance, I believe, and this go when I'm saying it, Deontay, I'm saying me too. That's a performance I'm ashamed of. That's a loss that I put on my record as well because I know what he really can do. And if he go in here June 1st and beat a Deontay Wilder, I'm always bragging to you guys about that. I'm always saying so many good things about that. Literally has my doctor telling me less than a year I'm going to have reconstructive surgery in my right shoulder. And not just me, JD's don't even hold pads no more because he 10 years just taking Deontay Wilder's pounding. The doctor said had to give him a new shoulder, and now he can't even do that no more. If that Deontay Wilder shows up, y'all going to see Zhang fall, and it's going to be a beautiful thing coming from a violent standpoint, very artistic and violent. Because Zhang is a Pop-Tart when he gets fatigued. He just is. Like, he falls apart. He's really scared. He almost would do anything not to get tired. Joseph Parker, he was down. It was kind of like, I would say Deontay had an off night, right? I would say when Zhang lost to Parker, he really just was like very methodical, not doing much. He really was fine, and I believe he held that because he just doesn't like getting into a vulnerable position when he's tired. Now he have to do like, you know what I mean? He doesn't like that. And our job is to take him into darkness. Our job is to see how he reacted to that. We already know how he reacted to that. But when the going gets tough and the tough get going, I believe Deontay Wilder is a much more tougher man than Zhang. Zhang is big and he's dangerous, like, you know what I mean? So I'm not going in here stupid, but I also know what my guy possesses. What my guy possesses is God-given, and when he wants to, he can be very defensively responsible, and when he wants to, he can stick to game plans, and when he wants to, he can knock you out off the back foot. No one said nothing about him boxing off the back foot when he ice-cold Helenius like no one ever done off the back foot. But when you understand life and you understand boxing, you understand, well, how it's set up, it didn't work out in our way. So you guys in the media can rip and run with it and say, he shouldn't be doing that anyway. Well, if it worked, Red Jenkins always tell me anyway, the best punch in boxing is the punch that land. Because when somebody could throw a wild punch and if it land, people will say, that was whatever it was. But if it land, it's the best thing since sliced bread. We have to go in here June 1st and knock Zhang out cold. We have to do something to him that no one ever has done, and that's like really putting him down and out.
I will ask you, as a coach, how do you keep the balance between teaching him new things and not dampening that killer instinct that you spoke about? You said he's a very violent man, and I think we all didn't see that in his last performance. How do you keep the balance between trying to sharpen his tools, but also keep that violent...
I don't really try to teach Deontay nothing new. Like, I give him options.
Right.
It's things that he do well that I remind him that we do well.
Right.
I'm not going to see somebody like Deontay have good jab defense, but only use it sometimes. No, it's my job to do the things you do subconsciously well.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure we drill so it could be a part of your system, and you're just not doing it subconsciously from an instinctive standpoint. So there's tons of things I've seen Deontay do over the years that I'm like, he do that very, very well from a subconscious standpoint. So we need to drill that so that becomes a part of his system. So it's not that I'm trying to change him. I'm just trying to give him options. Okay, yeah, you got a good right hand, but you could set that right hand up with a 3-2. You could set that right hand up with a feint downstairs. You could set that right hand up with an eye decoy. You could set that right hand up with a turn, like, you know what I mean? So I'm not really... Bro, I say this with all humbleness. I don't think it's a man in this room, in this building, that really knows and study boxing the way I do. Like, I am not stupid enough to change a killer and think he's going to be dancing around like Muhammad Ali. Yeah. You guys have to understand, some days in boxing, we all are walking into the unknown. You think any of us would expect to see Deontay to like not engage for 10 to 12 rounds against Joseph Parker? Absolutely not. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to set him up and not really just go for anything. But he went in there. We had an off night, but we're going to right that wrong come June 1st and knock Zhang out cold.
Malik, final question. What is it that you're hoping to capitalize on? They've got a common opponent in Joseph Parker. You said fatigue is one thing, but what else have you seen in Zhang that you feel that you can take advantage of?
He overcommits like every southpaw do. Like every fighter do when they really get hungry and want to hit somebody. He doesn't really, like, he kills the clock at times without doing nothing. At times he go into a state of being very lazy. What else? He doesn't use his jab enough to me to be a big man. And this, once again, I'm saying these things now. This doesn't take credit away from his great trainer, Sean George, who I come up with. It's just that when fighters get in the ring sometimes, I say, hold on, I'm gonna let you guys go after this. I say this to say, it's talent having speed and throwing combinations and doing all this stuff. But it's even, the real talent is being able to follow directions. Yeah. The real talent is how many fighters can stick to a game plan. You know what I mean? You can go in there and throw punches and slip and dip all you want, but if you can't stick to a game plan and remain disciplined defensively while you're going in there, it really don't mean nothing. We have to be very, very careful with this big, dangerous man, and we have to protect ourselves. But at the same time of us protecting ourselves, we have to take risks. And us taking risks, it put Zhang in offensive position, but it also puts him in a dangerous position. Like, you know, he's a big man, but he's a big man that's very vulnerable.